Okay, it looks like we are recording, and I am Kaylin, and over to my left is Lisa.
I am Lisa.
We're trying something new. We can record this on Zoom and put on our real relatable and relevant site because we were having issues with using FaceTime to do a live video. So we had to retool, so to speak.
I know, which is kind of what all of us are sort of having to do during this whole thing is figure out what works, what doesn't work, right?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, what works? Well, everybody's trying to recreate the wheel every single day because things are happening on a daily basis. And, you know, people ask me all the time, how you holding up? I'm like, well, I'm doing fine. I've got a dog that doesn't leave me alone when I'm at home, but I am trying to get as much work done with his cooperation. Yeah.
I know. I have my cat too that likes to crawl up, and then I'm like, no, you cannot sit on my keyboard.
I know, exactly. It's been interesting. You know, Zoom has been the most used word, I think, in the English language, other than the, you know, Corona and COVID. Everybody's talking about Zoom, and it's made a big difference on being able to, for me, for showing houses. I mean, I'm using that to show houses, having client conversations that way. So it really is kind of the new word.
It really is. Are you doing any, because I was just listening to something, are you doing any listings like where, are your clients using it to show you the house at all for listings, or what are you doing on that?
Haven't done that yet. What I've done is they'll leave the house and I'll go in and tour the home, make my notes, and then we'll have a conversation either standing, you know, far apart outside or over email and phone. But for the listings I have, doing virtual showings, and then last weekend I did a Facebook Live open house. So
yeah, that was great.
Yeah, that went over really well. It gives great exposure to the house, that you can save that video and people can watch it anytime, because you can't hold open houses, and I wouldn't recommend anybody do that or go to open houses. It just isn't a wise thing to do. But you know, and talking about making changes as we go, the MLS is now allowing those types of virtual videos to go onto our listing. So they've made adjustments to our input, so we can add those. So that's been nice. So people can go take a virtual show, because, you know, you can take pictures and make a virtual tour with pictures, but it's not the same as actually walking through the house. So with the Facebook Live open house, I was able to really show all the different features of the house, you know, like the skylight in the master closet, and, you know, the pantry that spins and all that kind of stuff. So we're trying to make it work as we, you know, navigate this new time.
And I think that's one of those great things, like as your board is allowing those things, which actually helps your client. I think there's some people that say, oh, I can't wait till it's back to the way it used to be. But I think that's one of those things that you're like, we don't want it to be the way it used to be, because we're actually really loving this new format and this new tool we have to let our clients look at a property without being there, or they can go back and go, oh, I know there was something, right? You can rewind it and go, that's what that was. So I think that's really cool.
Yeah, I think it's just going to be another tool in our toolbox, essentially. I think that's going to be just kind of a regular feature, as what we do when we list is to do those virtual showings in addition to everything else we've already done. You know, we'll get back to a time where we actually have showings and you know, in-person showings and that sort of thing. But, you know, in the meantime, I think we're going to develop some new skills and new processes that are just going to make the whole real estate transaction process even better.
Even better. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So what
Yeah.
do you do? I mean, your phone has got to be ringing off the hook with questions.
Yeah, it is, with a lot of questions. So, um, so crazy enough, a lot of people, I mean, a lot of people are at home, so it's a great time, even if you're not really looking to buy until even sometime this summer. What a great time to get pre-approved, which people are finding out, because a lot of people have access to their information and they're sitting at home, and so they can text, email, get the loan application filled out. So we're staying busy that way, which is really fantastic.
Right.
A lot of people have questions on interest rates. Where are they going? What are they doing? There's so many things involved in that. Purchases are still great. The interest rates are really just great, even after they took a little, the Fed, what they did didn't quite work out the way people thought it would for rates initially.
Right.
Oh, do you have 0%? No, we don't have 0% interest rates, right?
Right. Right.
But things are starting to stable out a lot more. I think the industry, and I'm not going to get into the weeds with interest rates and where they are for refinance, but there's a lot of different refinancing is not as simple as just calling your lender saying, what's your rate? I want to lock in. That's not what can happen right now. So there's more to it than that. So that's an interesting conversation to have with everybody. Right. And then there's the whole forbearance issue. So what that really means, and fielding those phone calls to make sure that people are really, really aware of what the protocols are and really how that affects your mortgage payment, I think is so super important. And so we're taking calls we're not the servicer. If we're not the servicer, right, we have to send them to their servicer for that information, because everybody's handling it differently.
Okay.
But it's not forgiveness. And so we were just talking, like, if you received forbearance and you received a full forbearance for 180 days, your mortgage payment, when it comes due after that, and you're back at work and right, it could be double what your payment was. And so I think people just need to realize that, really understand it, and know if there's any way to make your payment right now, that really is the best option. Right. But if you can't, it's really great. There is something out there to get you through this time.
Okay. Well, and I think the important point of all that, Lisa, is to call. Don't assume. Don't try to figure it out on your own. Is to call you with these questions, because what do I do? I'm going to be out of work. Right. For, could be 60 days. Unemployment only pays a certain percentage of what I was earning. We're going to have trouble making that payment. What's our best option? Because I think you had mentioned in a earlier conversation that we had back in 2008-9, when we had the recession, people just stopped making payments thinking, oh, well, it'll whatever. And without making phone calls. And so a lot of people ended up in trouble that could have probably avoided that.
Correct. Yes. They kind of that ignorance. So if I just don't do it, somehow it will either go away or and it doesn't go away. And it really wreaks havoc on your credit. So then when you want to refinance sometime, or you want to sell your house and buy that next house, there's just so much work that goes into that when you've got some mortgage late payments on your credit report.
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. So Lisa, are you homeschooling?
No. I try. So I have teenage boys, and I would like to say I'm this mom that's, we're doing all these fun projects. My boys look at me like, are you serious, Mom? No, not doing it. They're doing Google Classroom. So our school has Google Classroom. So they're working on their geometry. They're working on their language arts. They're working on their financial literacy. Actually, it's kind of cool. Our financial literacy here, the teacher takes them through the Dave Ramsey courses.
Yeah.
So it's interesting because my son and I actually have great conversations about what that looks like, which I think is, I mean, he's a freshman in high school, but it's, I think he should also take it when he's a senior, but
Yeah.
it's really good conversation. I would say, like, I'm really still busy with work.
Yes.
So I'm still working a full or more than a full day.
Yeah.
And so homeschooling is, it probably isn't, even though my degree is in education, Kaylin, I don't think it was really meant. Right now, my education is in mortgages and finance.
I know. Exactly. I mean, and that's what, you know.
Are you homeschooling Patch?
Yeah. Well, Patch is homeschooling me. He's training me, really. He apparently is afraid that I'm going to leave him because he's never more than about 6 inches away. And of course, when I get on something like this, he wants to play. So I have to get him up on my lap to, stop pestering me. But he stays in pretty close contact with me and kind of loving all this lap time he gets. So it's a little hard to sit at my desk, and I have a office setup, but it's an office chair. He doesn't like it that I'm on that chair and he's on the floor. So I've had to adjust. I take the ottoman, I put his bed on the ottoman, scoot it right next to my desk chair, and he lays down on that, and then he's fine. As long as he's right next to me, if he can't be on my lap. So, I mean, the kid is spoiled rotten.
Oh, that's funny.
Anyway.
So have you watched any, because last time I know on our page you posted a book that you read. Have you either read good books or watched any good shows that you're like, this is a great
I started a new book
thing to pass on?
Actually for our book club this month. It's called Akin, Akin. And it's dealing with kinship or in family, that you didn't know you had or you're not real close to, and all of a sudden you're dealing with that. So I'm just starting that one. That's pretty good. And I'm sorry, this is terrible, but I'm a huge Friends fan. So TBS plays Friends pretty much 24/7. So if I don't have anything else going on, that's probably on. But I found something on Netflix that I was watching something on, I know, Making the Cut on Amazon Prime with Heidi Klum and Tim Gunn. Because I'm a huge Project Runway fan, and so there's 2 shows on. One's called Making the Cut, and one is the next. I can't think of it now. I got caught off guard here, but those are good. There's one on Netflix and one on Prime, and Heidi Klum and Tim Gunn, theirs is on Prime, and that series just started. So those are kind of my fun things. I love those kind of shows. And then I found a new one on Netflix called Unorthodox. That's really interesting. So yeah. So
we'll have to post those below to let people know, like, hey, if you're looking for a show to watch or whatever.
Yes. And I like I like the British shows too, the murder mystery British kind of themes. Yeah. So some of them are a little weird, but I kind of get into that.
Yeah, funny humor. So speaking of the funny humor in actually British shows, because I was thinking about one of the past episodes, they referred to a Perry Mason. One of the things referred to Perry Mason. But I have started watching Boston Legal. You remember that show?
That's so awesome. That's a great show.
Yes, I mean, it's on Hulu, and I'm like, oh my gosh, it's quirky, funny, just like I love William Shatner, and anyway, so that's been because most things on TV, right, without sports, without anything else,
weird.
Like before, at the end of the day, I'm kind of like, I don't want to have it's just that no thinking just kind of makes you laugh and
Yep, absolutely. So, but if the problem is if you have the opportunity to watch the next episode, I find myself getting sucked into watching the next episode, and then it's like, I got to get to bed because I really am trying to work a normal day. When this all started and really about the, 3rd week in March, when it's like you have to work from home, I made a pledge to myself to get up, get ready. I may have jeans on, but I'm ready, the whole hair makeup thing, and make my bed and have breakfast and then start my day. If I don't, then I'm very unfocused. I have to start my day. So
yes.
Yeah.
Agreed. I think there's something about keeping, and they keep talking about, right? Like keeping those schedules, keeping things like that, which is my kids are the hardest one with that.
Yeah.
But keeping schedules and keeping that, and I think I'm busy. For me, I tend to err on the side of a little bit of a workaholic, so I've always had to been that person to cut things off at a certain time.
Right.
And with this, especially if my boys are busy, I'm like, oh, you want to talk to me at 7 o'clock at night? Sure, you know.
Right, exactly. Well, Lisa, this has been fun. I'm glad we made this work. And those who are listening, we're going to do this again, maybe a little bit more frequently now that we've got this whole figured out. So everybody stay safe, stay smart, wash your hands, and, you know, talk to people on the phone or Zoom, either one.
Yes, socialize, Zoom, connect.
Connect, absolutely. Stay connected. All right. Everybody have a great day, and we love you.
Love ya. Bye.